Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. In just a moment, I am headed out the door to check out the latest film in the Final Destination franchise, Final Destination Bloodlines. Final Destination Bloodlines is starring Tony Todd, Breck Bassinger, and Richard Harmon. It tells the story of a college student who is plagued by nightmares about the demise of her family. So she decides to return home to try to find the one person who might be able to save her family from their horrific fate. This is the latest in the Final Destination franchise, and guys, I am a fan of the Final Destination films. In fact, I think it's one of the most consistent horror franchises to date. Even though the fourth one is not even close to the standard of the other films in this franchise, it's still better than some of the other ones that have come out in other franchises, let's just put it that way. I would have to say that it's a very consistent franchise. Maybe I'll do a ranking video. I'm thinking maybe closer to Halloween or something like that. Give me a chance to be able to sit down and watch this movie again, all of the movies back to back, and then I might be able to do a ranking video for all of those. But until then, guys, it is time for me to get out the door because I need to go check out Final Destination Bloodlines. Welcome back, just getting home from Final Destination Bloodlines, and guys, let me tell you, there is always this really weird feeling you get on the way home from a Final Destination movie. I've seen all of these movies in theaters, and let me tell you, on the trip home, you pay a lot more attention to the way you're going than you normally do on the way there, let me tell you what. Okay guys, so let's get into this, shall we? Let's get into the negatives and then into positives to end the video on the ever so important high note. Now, negative-wise, I only have one thing that really sticks in my craw for me on this movie, and yes, I'm going to talk about the runtime of this movie. This is the longest of all of the Final Destination films. All of the Final Destination movies come in right around the 1 hour and 30-minute time limit. They might go up above it by just a few minutes, or in the case of 4, it might be 10 minutes below, because that movie's only an hour and 20 minutes. Which, believe me, you don't want that movie hanging around for too much longer, because it is awful. But anyways, this movie comes in at just about 2 hours. And I think the thing that kind of causes that problem is both something that I liked about the movie and something I disliked about the movie. And that is the family aspect of this film. Now, while I will say that brings into some positives, it also does one big negative. It makes this movie a family drama in a Final Destination film. And unfortunately, I felt that yes, maybe it did give some more characterization to our characters, but it really didn't need any more drama. I mean, these folks figure out pretty early on in the movie what's going on, so there isn't a whole lot of, mystery building and stuff. It is pretty much survival and trying to figure out how to break this curse once the family figures out what's going on, and they pretty well figure it out pretty quick in this film. This movie does not, it does not really linger around too awful long, to be perfectly honest. The pacing isn't terrible. I just didn't feel like we needed to throw in this drama into this entire mix, because there is some of the characters that are going on this whole journey of trying to bring back their family and drama, and there's a parent that left and now they're back in their life and blah, blah, blah. So there's this whole story of redemption that's going on during the same time of this film, and I really didn't feel like that needed to be there, because the film already had a subject matter. It already has something that it's trying to accomplish, and that is, in my opinion, family trauma and how your decisions in your life can trickle down and affect all of the people that come be after you. And I thought the movie already had that message in it, but it didn't need to throw anything else into the film to kind of give some more drama or the whole concept of family and so on and so forth and redemption. It did not need to be there whatsoever. This movie could have just focused on the fact that these folks were all family, because that brings it into what really made me like this movie. So let's just go ahead and go into the positives. So the only thing that really annoyed me, and it really doesn't make the movie bad whatsoever, is the runtime and the fact that they try to shoehorn in a family drama subplot that really didn't need to be there. So let's move into those positives. The first thing I want to talk about, again, let's get into that family dynamic and what I did like about it. The thing that I liked about the family dynamic was it made you get behind our characters, our victims, a lot more in this movie. These were not just random people that were brought together because of some horrible incident that happens. Like in the third movie, they're just all people that got on this ride together. Kind of similar to the second movie too. There were some people in the movie that were friends and all, and you really felt a little bit of kinship between them. But in this movie, you have generations of people that love and care about one another. So I liked that bring it into this, and it really brought a lot more tension into the kills. So let's talk about those kills, because that's why you're going to this movie. Let's be perfectly honest. These movies are tailor-made for all of us who just love that carnage. We just can't get enough of that, that ooey gooey sticky red stuff. And this movie absolutely delivers in that category. It does know at the end of the day what this film is, and it does know what the fans show up for. And let's say they decided to tone down that CGI a little bit. One of the things about these films that I felt really hurt the movies, especially after the second movie, was chasing that 3D dragon and trying to make cool 3D kills that worked with that little gimmick while it was around. And while 5 did a good job of bringing in the 3D aspect, this movie dropped it completely. 3D movies are not the new hotness. There's not people chasing around trying to make cool 3D kills, because what we learned about all that is none of that crap ages well. Once you get home and you watch it on your TV, you watch it on streaming, physical media, whatever, those 3D kills look like absolute crap. So I'm really happy to say that this film decided to give up on trying to make cool 3D kills. Now, there is some CGI, not gonna lie. I mean, the whole opening sequence, they had to use CGI for a lot of that, and it really looks good. The opening sequence with the big, huge hotel or restaurant, I guess it was. I'm not 100% sure. They don't really give you a lot of definition, just that it's kind of like a Sky Needle type place. And it also kind of went back to some scary stuff that happened here in Kansas City. I think the 40th anniversary of the accident happened. It was one of the most devastating accidents that's ever happened in Kansas City, and it happened at a hotel during a dance. And in all honesty, it was kind of a scary incident, because my grandparents liked going to these dances that they would have at these hotels. It was something that kind of took them back to the days of, good old World War II, and they would have the dance cards and all that. So older folk would get together and they would go to these dances that would happen throughout the city. Well, one of those dances was happening at a local hotel that had this really neat little device going on inside of its hotel with these raised up different platforms. Well, as it turned out, all of those platforms in the hotel weren't put together all that well, and they collapsed, and it ended up being one of the most devastating things that has happened in Kansas City history to date. And so it really brought back some stuff for me, because I was a little guy back then. This was only about, like I said, 45 years ago, something like that. So, yeah, I was around when it happened. So that whole thing was handled really well. I thought it brought in some cool stuff. Also, I thought that this film did an excellent job handling Tony Todd in what happened after the filming of this movie. Tony Todd was sick, and this was his final film. And they tied his character into this and also gave his character of this film franchise a nice little send-off. And I'm not saying there was some kind of big Final Destination death or anything like that. They handled this entire thing with class and elegance, and I thought that they gave Tony Todd, not just the character, but the actor himself, a really great send-off. So I like the way they handled that. A lot of the effects in this movie, while there is CGI, don't get me wrong, a lot of stuff in this film is handled practically, a lot of really great makeup effects, and also a lot of really great Rube Goldberg carnage comes into this film. The story itself is great. Like I said, the family aspect of this film really brings in the characters a little bit. You root for these characters, you feel a kinship, there is chemistry amongst our victims that you don't really find in a lot of the other films. These aren't just people going off on a work retreat, they're family, they love each other, they care about each other, so it makes the stakes so much higher when they get into these crazy situations. So all in all, guys, I would have to say that this is an extremely solid, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a legacy sequel, I would say that this film franchise just took a little bit of a break, and now it's back. Because films like this, they don't necessarily have continuity that necessarily has to be connected with each of them. You give us a strong story, you give us some good victims, and some amazingly carnage-filled kills, and fans of this series are going to be happy. And guys, let me tell you, this film all comes together to not just make fans happy, but it's a really good jumping off place for people who may not know anything about this franchise. So it could be a great point for you to jump in if you haven't seen any of these movies whatsoever. This could be a good spot for you to hop in there and check these movies out. All in all, guys, I have to say that this was a solid, fun little horror romp in theaters, and by the looks of things, I went to a mid-afternoon showing of this. I went to a 3 o'clock showing, and let me tell you, there was a reasonable amount of people that started showing up into this movie theater. So I think that this might be the big hit of the weekend. That's just my theory. Alright, guys, well, thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. Solid. Get out there, see this movie in theaters, support this movie, and in all honesty, it looks really, really good. So if you have the ability to see this movie up on the IMAX and everything, check it out. Cinematography is extremely well done. The way that they shoot the Rube Goldberg type of kills in this movie, really excellently done. This wish they would have had some more surprises, but the tension in this movie is outstanding. So much great tension and dread. You really feel nothing but dread throughout this entire film. So it really accomplishes a lot. So all in all, guys, really solid. Get out there, see this movie in theaters, support this film this weekend when it comes out. Well, it's actually out right now because I just went and saw it. So get out there, support this film. Alright, guys, thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.